really made all of us players realize that we were a good team and probably should have won in '67. It's been that way, but we were all anxious to get started in '68, and of course all Tiger fans remember the great '68 season when the Tigers got out in front, stayed there, won the American League Championship, and then went on to become world champions.
Go get 'em, Tiger. Wow.
Swing, and there's a drive to deep right center. Stanley going after it and dives and makes a great catch. A fabulous catch by Stanley. Aparicio going back to first base. He's doubled off.
Tigers are trailing by 1 run, 4-3 behind Baltimore. Here's Magic now waiting on the full count delivery by Drabowski. Swung on, there's a fly ball to right. It's deep, it might be. Back is Robinson, and it is a home run. On a 2-run homer by Magic. Oh, the Tigers are out at home plate to meet him. Here he comes, and the Tigers win the ball game.
Now the 1-0 pitch, long drive to left field. Could be trouble for Boston. It's gone. Home run. Bill Freehan, his 19th home run of the year. Coming here in the top of the 11th inning, the Tigers take a 10-9 lead. The next pitch to Price is hit to deep left field. Might be, could be, it's gone. Jim Price clears the fence downstairs in left center field. His second home run of the year. The Tigers win the ball game 3-2.
The man who scored is up there now waiting on a 3-2 pitch from John. Watch out. That one just about hit him. I think Mac's a little perturbed. He's yelling out to Tommy John. Now he goes at him, and John tackles McCauliffe. Here comes Pete Ward in, Mickey Stanley. Salerno's there in the middle, and both dugouts empty, and the teams are going at it. Gates Brown is out there, and now the umpires are trying to separate the combatants here, and I think the situation has been stilled. John, I believe, has hurt his arm.
That is caught. It may be a triple play. They did it. A triple play.
Denny McLain, there's never been any like Denny McLain.
September 14th, a bright, sunny Saturday afternoon. Denny McLain attempting to become the first 30-game winner in more than 30 years. It turned out to be the game of the century, as the nation forgot its worries long enough to watch Denny challenge the record of the great Dizzy Dean.
You don't expect him to keep doing it like this all year. I thought I was in a little bit of trouble, but they pulled me out again.
The pitch swung on, a ground ball to Peter. He goes to the plate. Back throw! Stanley hits the third base. The Tigers have tied this ball game. Outfield is shallow. The pitch. Fastball, base hit. Tigers are going to win this one. Stanley scores the winning run, and McLain wins his 30th ball game of the year as Willie Horton comes up with a big base hit. In the bottom of the ninth, the Tigers score 2, and look at this celebration on the field.
It's the greatest bunch of ball players I've ever played with, and I've been saying that for 5 years. They've just been fantastic.
When Gator Brown came striding out of the dugout, the citizens of Detroit arose to show the league's leading pinch hitter how much they appreciated his record-breaking contribution. Groans echoed through the stands as Gates walked.
3 men on, 2 men out. Game tied 1-1 in the 9th inning. And the windup and the pitch. He swings a line shot, base hit, right field. The Tigers win it. Here comes Kaline to score, and it's all over. Donward singles. The Tigers mob Don. Kaline has scored. The fans are streaming on the field, and the Tigers have won their first pennant since 1945.
And we're in the Tiger clubhouse right now. There was another Tiger victory dig just like all year long, coming from behind, rallying.
I think that was the greatest thing in the world, winning a game like that. We've been doing it all year long.
We've had a lot of them up here tonight, and nearly every one of them said they wanted to win it for you and Jim Campbell. That's quite a compliment.
Well, I tell you, as far as I'm concerned, they're all my boys.
Well, for you as it is for the guy. I knew this was going to happen.
everybody was fearful of what would happen in the city when the streets started heating up again. But a strange thing happened in '68. The ball team, the Tigers, came back to Detroit, and suddenly you'd stop at a corner at Woodward and Claremont, and you'd have the window down, and the Tigers would be in Boston, and Willie Horton would be up, and he'd crash one against the left field fence in Fenway Park, and you'd turn around and look at the guy in the next car, and he was cheering, and you felt a surge of excitement, and he waved to you, and you waved to him.
I hit 2 in one game in Cleveland, and it was on my son's birthday, which was even more fun for me, and I was in a horrendous slump. I wasn't even supposed to play that day, so it brought me out of the slump and really made things take off. But, you know, I struck out the first time in that game on a pitch I should have hit with the bases loaded. I could have hit 3 in that game, and, you know, you always say if I'd have done this and that. And then when I hit the third one 3 days later, I came up the next 2 innings later with the bases loaded again, and nobody out. There was no reason for me not to hit the ball, but I swung it. I would say I was a little over anxious. I swung it 2 in the dirt and then took one right down the middle. So I had a chance there to hit an awful lot of grand slams, and I hit 4 in that season and 1 in a World Series.
Quite frankly, I didn't believe Mayo Smith, and I was very nervous. But he brought me into the hotel room in Baltimore. He says, "You are going to be our shortstop in the World Series," and he says, "You might as well make up your mind."
Tigers had a team spirit and a feeling that whenever they were in the game, even if they were behind, they could come back and win it.
You are the sunshine of my life, yeah. That's why I'll always stay around. Someone else, but not for me. Our love was out to get me. That's the way it seemed. Disappointment haunted all my dreams. Then I saw her face. Now I'm a believer. Not a trace of doubt in my mind. I'm in love. I'm a believer, I couldn't leave her if I tried.
We had a guy on base, Lou Brock, that had been causing me all sorts of problems, stealing bases, and our ball club all sorts of problems trying to keep him off the bases. And a line drive was hit to Willie, and at that point in time, we were really struggling. The throw was outstanding. I was very surprised that Lou didn't slide.
We all did things as a team. I made the throw, but it was a combination of pre-hand, down work, Willie Horton, and the support of Mickey Stelling.
What you want, baby, I got it. What you need, you know I got it. All I'm asking is for a little respect when you come on. Just a little bit, hey, baby, just a little bit. Just a little bit, mister, just a little bit. R-E-S-P-E-C-T. R-E-S-P-E-C-T, take F-T-C-T,
2 out, nobody on, no score, 7th inning, Tigers at bat. 7th game of the World Series. Now the windup and the pitch. Swing, there's a looping drive to right. It'll drop in for a single by Cash. Here's Willie Horton. Ground ball, left side, through, base hit by Horton. Cash checks in and holds it second. Now the set by Gibson, we're ready. There's a swing and a fly ball to center. Here comes Flood, digging hard. He almost fell down. Hits over his head for a hit. Cash is rounding third. He scores. Willie Horton rounding third. He scores. Northrup goes into third base. Detroit leads 2-0. Well, there's the one that breaks it open, Pee-wee.
Yeah, it looked like Kurt Flood. He charged in on that ball. Then he saw that the ball was hit harder than he thought it was. He tried to break back. He slipped on it and then could not catch up to the ball.
Lolich fires. Ball is hit high in the air. This should be the series. Freehand waving everybody away in foul territory. Detroit wins.
I can't believe it. I knew we were going to win. Filled with money, crying money, but I don't have to use it anymore. They really sacked it to him, and they knew what they were doing when they pitched Lolich against Gibson.
Couldn't be better, Al. Everything's better.
It's the greatest thing that ever happened to us.
And all fans, please remain standing for today's national anthem as we welcome a man who is invited to perform the national anthem before Game 5 of the 1968 World Series by Tigers Hall of Fame broadcaster Ernie Harwood. Please welcome Jose Feliciano with our national anthem.
After the ceremony, Jose Feliciano is going to sing the national anthem here at Comerica Park.
Holy cow. He's messed up Mickey Lowley. Let him explain it.
Yeah, he did sort of screw me up in that game because I pitched that fifth game when he sang the national anthem. Warming up in the bullpen down at Tiger Stadium, which was down the left field line, you were actually standing in the shadows of the stadium for a 1 o'clock ball game in the afternoon. And being it was October, there was a slight chill in the air, and I started to warm up, and I was just starting to get loose when the national anthem took place. And as you know, that Jose sang his version of the national anthem, which by today's standards would be fantastic, you know. But in those days, it was a little bit different. And it was sort of a long version. And when he got done, I basically almost had to start re-warming up again. And I hadn't even got around to throwing a breaking ball, because when you warm up in the bullpen, you start warming up at a certain time on the clock, get your throwing in, and then go out to the mound. And that time that it took him to sing it really didn't fit right with my time to get warm. And when I went out to pitch the first inning of the 5th game, I hadn't even thrown a curveball yet. And as you know, I scared the hell out of all you people by letting them get a 3-0 lead in the first inning. And then I settled down and everything worked out fine.
Your attention, please. Please rise and join in the singing of our national anthem, which will be played by Merle Alby's band and will be sung by Jose Feliciano.
The dawn's early light was so proudly we held, at the twilight light whose broad spire and bright stars through the perilous fight for the were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombers singing air, they gave through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land and for the free and the home of the brave?
Game of the 1968 World Series being brought to you from Detroit, Michigan.
I'd like to hear Ray Lane give that home run call that he used to give.
I did.
You remember it?
No, I don't remember it anymore. It might be out of here. That might have been it. I don't know.
Might be. Could be. It's gone.
Thank you very much. It was only because of my eyesight. I had to make sure it got over.
Next pitch to Price is hit to deep left field. Might be. Could be. It's gone. Clears the fence downstairs in left center field. His second home run of the year. The Tigers win the ball game 3-2.
Ernie was the typical Southern gentleman. And the first day that I went to work with Ernie and got the job, I got a telephone call. The first call I got after I got the job was from Ernie Harwell. Ernie said, "I've got all this memorabilia at my house." That's when he lived in Grosse Pointe. He says, "All I have of baseball is yours. All you have to do is come over. This will be the only time I tell you this." And Ernie Harwell was a great sidekick. I was his sidekick for 11 years. We did one thing in California late at night. A lot of people would shut their radios off because of a 3-hour time difference. And as I look over to my tall right-hander over here, who's from California, I mentioned one night that one of the Hollywood starlets was playing in a play that was Romeo and Juliet. She was heavily endowed, and I mentioned to Ernie, I said, I see that so-and-so is going to play the lead in Romeo and Juliet, Ball 2. And Ernie said, yeah. He says, you know, she can really hang out of a balcony. That's my memory of Ernie.
Attaboy, Ray. I never knew Ray drank till I saw him sober one day. Amen, buddy.
Mr. Campbell was the general manager, and they didn't want the team to know that they already clinched it, and they didn't want the fans to know. He had a full house, and don't make that announcement at all until they won it themselves. Good way to do it.
There you go, Ray Lane. One of the great to get here with Ray Lane. Give us one of your favorite Detroit sports history of any team.
Detroit Red Wings. Detroit Red Wings, when they captured their first playoff spot, what did they have, 3 in a row, I think it was, but the first one, and I was doing the color in the interviews, they won it, won the Stanley Cup. I was so thrilled about that. I climbed over the boards to get the players before they came off the ice, not knowing that the CBC had an exclusive contract, and I was getting the players before they did. They changed the rule the next year and put us behind barricades so we couldn't get on the ice. But I had fun, and that's where I got my nickname, the Razor. And that was a couple of the young players, that Osgood was one of them, decided to call me Razor in the locker room. But that was a thrill that I'll never forget.
Thank you. The great Ray Lane.
And the man that drove in Al Kaline for that 68 American League Championship, Don Wirtz.
Men on, 2 men out. Game tied 1-1 in the 9th inning. And the windup and the pitch. He swings a line shot, base hit, right field. The Tigers win it. Here comes Kaline to score, and it's all over. Don Wirtz singles. The Tigers mob Don. Kaline has scored. The fans are streaming on the field, and the Tigers have won their first pennant since 1945.
After we didn't make it 67, we knew in 68 we were going to win it, and everybody played well all year, and to get the winning hit was my favorite of all my career, and my only problem was when I got the hit, I had to run down to first base. Then I had to get back to third base line. You know? And I'll tell you, the workmen at Tiger Stadium got around me and got me back to dugout.
And what about the home run Tom Matchik hit the game before?
Tell him, Matty.
So long ago, John. That was the night before against Baltimore. We were losing. What was the score, John? You know everything. 2-1. 9th inning, and Dabrowski was pitching. Freehand was on first base. They ran the count to 3-2. He threw me a 3-2 slider. I got lucky and had a good swing on and put in the upper deck. And that was a home run. We beat Baltimore. They were right on our tail, too. I think they were just a game or two behind us.
Major difference playing a team from that league in the series as opposed to a good American League team?
I don't know. I couldn't tell. I was on a bench with Trzeski and the rest of the guys. I was getting the hot dogs for Gator. I didn't see any difference in it. We had a great team, great pitchers. You know, we had great Denny winning 30-some games, Mickey in the World Series 3 games. We had one of the best relief pitchers in Tiger history. John Hiller went on to be a great relief pitcher here for you guys. And plus we had Gator in the hall, so no, there's no difference. They put their pants on one leg at a time too. But we were a come-from-behind ball club, our guys. Stormin' Norman kept us loose. If you guys could have lived what we lived, you'd really be smiling today. because this team was something else. But to give you your answer, well, I didn't see any difference. We brought the championship back to you guys.
Gentlemen, welcome John Warden.
You'd like to add to what Al had to say at all?
What Al say? Well, my main job during the year had hot dogs and peanuts and some things down there. But it was a great thrill for me, a 21-year-old kid from Central Ohio. I grew up on a farm, and to come to the big city, which was the 4th largest city back then in the nation, and to just have a chance to be associated with these guys and watch them play every day was a great thrill. And I've had a lot of people tell me, come up and say, thanks for saving our city. And they meant it. I mean, that's how great this team was and how the racial tension subsided. Winning heals a lot of wounds. We started winning, and if they'd had me up in '67, we'd have gone back to back.
Tell us that story? That's the April story. Huh?
Beginning of the year, I happened to have the good fortune to get in the game early, second day of the season in relief of Denny, and pitched the 8th and 9th inning against Boston. Struck out Yaz, 2 outs in the 9th. Gator come up in the bottom of the 9th and hit a home run off John Wyatt. We win the ball game, and I'm fortunate enough to get the win. First win in my career. 2 days later, came in, faced Cleveland, got a guy out. Freehan threw a guy out at second. Horton got a hit. We win, and I'm 2-0. We go to Chicago, game of the week, bases loaded. I come in, we're up 1 run. The only way I can get a win is walk a guy in. So I walked Wayne Causey, and now the game's tied up. And Ken Boyer's the next hitter, so I thought I'd be out of the game because lefty against righty. So I looked over at the dugout of Mayo, and he was, how are we doing? And so I guess I was going to throw it. Looked like I was throwing to Ken Boyer. So I hung the curveball. I should have yelled, "Look out, Coyote!" And hit a shot to third base. Worked, caught it, stepped on third. Top of the 10th. Horton hits it, knocks in a couple guys. We win the ball game. I'm 3-0. And Lolich was tickled to death about it. He wanted to know when my bubble was going to burst. And the guy from Sports Illustrated was there, and he said, "Hey, you pitched 3 1/3 innings, you're 3-0. What kind of year do you think you're going to have?" I said, "I should win 45, 50 games."
What's your guys' reaction when you found out that Mr. Lolich was going to pitch Game 7 on 2 days rest? Were you confident or were you a little worried?
Well, I talked to Mayo before the game, and Mayo's going, here's what we're going to do, Mick. But no, Mickey went out there, and he was a little shocked it was on 2 days rest. But Mayo hadn't sobered up yet from Game 6. And so he still had that little flask, and, you know, and he said, "Go get him, Lolo." That's pretty much it. Baltimore, everybody liked to beat Earl Weaver. Little Mickey Rooney. I had a perfect game going for 1 2/3 innings, and then sort of wheels came off.
Be surprised. What was the bonus that you guys got individually for winning the World Series?
$10,936.26. They make that now for $10,936. How much you guys get?
They got $8,000.
Oh, bullshit. That's what you cleared after it. Yeah, take taxes out. He's from Canada. He's got to count like 1, 2, 3, 4. And no, we didn't take steroids either.
Yes.
Tell you where they were that year, that week, that day that you guys won. Frequently, I'm assuming.
Hey, Denny, do you notice it's always the old women that love us? Huh?
Yeah. You know, hey, you look familiar. Did I leave you tickets in '68? I think I let through a couple tickets, Ray.
68 AL Cy Young and MVP, Denny McLain.
The triple play against Baltimore, I always had a lot of trouble with Baltimore, and I had a lot of trouble with Boog Powell. In fact, it got so bad at one time, whether it was Price or Freehand, I used to tell them, let's tell them what's coming and not waste any more time. Let's just get it over with. So it's a Sunday afternoon game. Men on first and second, nobody out. The second or third inning, and we're pretty close to getting our brains blown out, me especially. And I think it was Freehand, right? Was Freehand catching that thing? Yeah. He walks out and he says, how do you want to pitch Powell? I says, after 5 years, you want to know how to pitch Powell. I haven't got him out in 5 years. He said, well, let's just pitch him hard inside. Now, don't ask me why. I think a lot of pitchers would say the same thing. There's just some hitters that give you a lot of trouble and you just can't make a good pitch. So Freehand goes behind, sets up the glove for a fastball inside. The ball, of course, is right down the middle, belt high. I mean, right down the middle. And he hits a line drive back at my waist area. You guys missed that one, didn't you?
Groin.
And groin, yeah, thank you very much. And I caught the ball, threw to second base to Tommy Matchik, sitting on our stage today. And we threw it on to Norm Cash for a triple play. But that's the only way I think that may be the only time I got him out all year, because the next time he came up, I wanted to hit him. I wanted to knock him down, and I hit him and I broke his hand. So he was through for the year. Son of a bitch, I hated him.
It may be a triple play. They did it. A triple play.
Denny McLain, there's never been any like Denny McLain.
September 14th, a bright, sunny Saturday afternoon. Denny McLain attempting to become the first 30-game winner in more than 30 years. It turned out to be the game of the century, as the nation forgot its worries long enough to watch Denny challenge the record of the great Dizzy Dean.
You don't expect him to keep doing it like this all year. I thought I was in a little bit of trouble, but they pulled me out again.
The pitch swung on, a ground ball to Peter. He goes to the plate. Back throw! The Tigers scores. Family heads for third base. The Tigers have tied this ball game. Outfield is shallow. The pitch. Fastball. Base hit. Tigers are going to win this one. Family scores the winning run, and McLain wins his 30th ball game of the year as Willie Horton comes up with a big base hit. On the bottom of the ninth, the Tigers scored two, and look at this celebration on the field. It's the greatest bunch of ball players I've ever played with, and I've been saying that for 5 years.
They got to change the game if anybody's going to get a shot to win 30. Number one, they got to raise the mound. If you raise the mound back to 6 inches where it belongs, you're going to have fewer guys getting hurt. That's number one. Number two, guys are going to have more leverage and throw a much better fastball. And number three, if they bring back the strike zone a little bit, you know, give the guys, although last night was an exception, they gave all the high strikes last night, but bring the high strike back, take a little bit of the way of the strike low, and just make it the way it was. I think you'd have a lot more guys winning 20 ball games. And I don't think they would. I'm not sure how many really want to go out there every fourth day, but I think you'd have more guys on a 16-inch mound trying to go further and further in the ballgame. I really do. I think it would make all the difference in the world, because baseball's done nothing but all the good things for hitters. They've done nothing for pitchers since 1969 when they reduced the mound. And sooner or later, somebody's got to look at it. We're losing too many good pitchers to arm injuries. And if they continue to do that, you know, they're going to wind up with the mediocrity, I think, that really is in the game today.
Does the Tiger or Bulldog and Justin Verlander feel at times you might
Oh, I don't know. He's certainly got great stuff. When he's got his control, he's as good as I've ever seen. I mean, you can compare him to the McDowells and the Tions and the Longbergs and all of those guys, no question about it. The way I like to look at it is he's a type of pitcher that could have pitched in any era, whether it be the 60s, the 50s, the 70s, he could pitch in any era. It's like Cabrera. He could play in any era. You can't say that about every player playing today that could have played in some of those other eras when there were different, when there were fewer teams, fewer players. So, but those are two guys that can play. He has got some kind of stuff.
Back to your team, when you win a championship together at any level in every sport, there's a bond for life.
Absolutely. You know, and you know, there's been a lot of rumors about some of the guys in our club not getting along once in a while and what have you. Listen, that's no different than society. You have an argument with your neighbor once in a while. The difference with our misunderstandings, as you might call them, is, you know, they appeared in the papers here every day. But the bottom line is there's such a good feeling when you see guys. Mickey Stanley's up there. Lolich is there, Price is there, all these guys are there that were a part of the ball club. And some of the things I forgot that John Hiller won 9 games that year. You know, and not only that, but I think he had 50 appearances, yet he pitched over 100 innings. What does that tell you about a relief pitcher? You know, I mean, they were pitching 2 and 3 innings at the time as a relief pitcher. So, you know, the game has changed.
I love Mayo. What else? His first year he finished second. His second year he wins a World Series. The third year he finishes second. And nobody's ever given him credit for what he did.
Yeah, Mayo.
Last time at bat at Tiger Stadium, you guys kind of let him know it was coming down the heart of the plate. Is that true?
Well, it is true. Jimmy Price was our catcher that day, and we were leading the ball game. I think it was 6-1. It was the 7th or 8th inning, and game was well in hand. And I went to Price, called Jimmy out to the mound, and I said, "Listen, we want him to hit one." And Jim looked at me and said, "What the hell are you talking about, hit one?" And I said, "Listen, the only way you and I are ever going to get in the Hall of Fame is if we give the ball and the home run for Mantle to go over 535 with the Yankees." So 3 or 4 pitches later, listen, after 2 pitches, Mickey took the first 2 pitches. Now we know we're not working with a Rhodes Scholar, right? I mean, what the hell is going on? We're trying to, and he's asking Price, he's asking Emmett Ashford, the umpire, what is he doing? What the hell is he doing? Is he going to do it again? And Jimmy comes out for the 3rd pitch, and he says, "Man," I said, "What the hell do you want now?" He said, "Mantle wants to know if you're going to do it again, and so does Emmett Ashford." I said, "For Christ's sake," I said, "tell him, please." So we throw the next pitch. The ball sailed a little bit, and he fouled the ball down the right field line. And then I yelled at Mickey. I said, "Where the hell do you want the damn thing?" He put his hand out over the plate and hit it 390 feet straight away center field. And it was one of the greatest moments I think we ever experienced as a Battery. It really was.
Another member of the 68 pitching staff, Darrell Patterson.
I had some doubts about that, and I thought, well,
I'll answer that.
I'll be going back to California pretty soon. And no, we come back and went back down there to St. Louis and scored 13 runs, I believe, in the 6th game, and then won the 7th game against one of the greatest pitchers of all time. Are you kidding me? And I go home in California, and the people back there are telling me we're lucky? No, we weren't lucky. We were good. And realized the situation. You know, Big Earl had pulled a muscle, and so I came in, walking in by first base there. Guess who's playing first base but Al Kaline, and he's telling me, "Come on, Chief."
Last time you saw Mickey Stanley was in the dugout.
So you can imagine how high I was. I mean, I was jacked up big time. And I was throwing my arm felt like it was 10 foot long. And I was probably throwing as hard as I ever threw in my life. You really can do something when you're scared. But it turned out to be a fantastic. I think I threw the best pitch in my career, that 3-2 pitch I made in that inning, and it surprised me because I was way ahead of my delivery, and I had to drop and drive, and I kind of put my palm up, and I looked up, and the ball went right across the knees, right down the pipe, and strike 3, and I thought, how the hell did I do that?
How about a big round of applause for the best pinch hitter in the history of Major League Baseball, Gates Brown.
Striding out of the dugout, the citizens of Detroit arose to show the league's leading pinch hitter how much they appreciated his record-breaking contribution.
From the crowd, you'll see the microphone. Raise your hand and have a question.
7 years old in '68, was at home screaming at the radio. Late at night, you'd hit a home run to win the game. Did you know we were there celebrating with you?
Well, you were the only one that really keeping me going, and it was quite a thrill. You don't know what it is being on a winner, and especially where I came from. You enjoyed every game. You lived life on the field as well as off the field, and they attested that by Norm Cash. You know, there was a lot of games. Norm would come in the clubhouse, and I swear, dead drunk, I use the word, first thing he'd do, he'd go in the trainer's room, drink a bottle of Pepto-Bismol, get in the shower, take a hot shower and a cold shower, and he'd tell the pitchers, if you can hold them for 7, I'll be ready. And I'll be damned if he didn't win a few games that way, you know, hitting home runs. And you don't know what it is playing with a guy like Norm Cash, but I guarantee you every team needs a guy like Norm Cash to win.
Oh, man who scored is up there now, waiting on a 3-2 pitch from John. Watch out. That one just about hit him. I think Mac's a little perturbed. He's yelling out the Tommy John. Now he goes at him, and John tackles McAuliffe. Here comes Pete Ward in, Mickey Stanley. Salerno's there in the middle, and both dugouts empty, and the teams are going at it. Gates Brown is out there, and now the umpires are trying to separate the combatants here, and I think the situation has been stilled. John, I believe, has hurt his...
Well, the only thing that really made me angry is I messed up 2 good hot dogs, you know. But, I mean, I enjoyed the game. You know, a lot of guys say, well, let's watch the game, and you get into it. The only way I could get into a baseball game is not getting into it. So I put my mind in a lot of other places, and then whenever I got the chance to hit, I think it relaxed me. It relaxed me a little more, and I went up and did what I had to do. The only thing I wanted was one good pitch to hit. And when I would take batting practice and the pitchers would be trying to work on their curveball, I would always say, throw me the fastball, and they would get angry. Well, I say, you know, I'm not going to go up there looking for a curve to hit, because if you do, you're going to be have to carry a lunch bucket. I always try to picture myself getting a fastball in my mind and not missing it. And that was the key to my success. I didn't foul off a lot of pitches. I put a lot of pitches in play, which some of them I wish I hadn't, but, you know, you do. And I did a lot of praying, even though I was an atheist.
Yes, sir. Yeah, this question
when I slid in the second, the first thing that I said, I'll be damned, I got to get up. You know, and I knew that, you know, I had 2 hot dogs in my jerseys, ketchup and mustard, and I was just thinking about eating those hot dogs, man, getting back into the dugout and finishing them all. But, you know, it was unless you've been on a winner, you can never know what it feels like to win. And after 67, there was no way that we was going to lose in 68, because that's how much we believed in ourselves. And it came to pass.
Obviously, time has taken away some of your teammates who have left us. I've always been told that Norm Cash was one of the craziest guys ever to play baseball. Could somebody tell a Norm Cash story that actually is clean, that we can tell in front of everybody? None to tell?
Going out after ball games, and a lot of times we'd play a night game, and then the next day was a day game. And when Norm came into the ballpark, you weren't quite so sure that he was going to make it to his locker. And we were all sort of tired from playing a night game and coming right back and playing a day game. But after he took a shower, jumped in a hot tub, took another cold shower, back into the hot tub, another cold shower, all of a sudden he would perk up, he would put his uniform on, and he'd jump up and he'd click his heels and say, "Let's go, boys, and get them." And you would say, Well, if he can wake up, we can too.
You enjoyed every game. You lived life on the field as well as off the field. And they attested that by Norm Cash. You know, there was a lot of games. Norm would come in the clubhouse, and I swear, dead drunk, I use the word. First thing he'd do, he'd go in the trainer's room, drink a bottle of Pepto-Bismol, get in the shower, take a hot shower and a cold shower, and he'd tell the pitchers, if you can hold them for 7, I'll be ready. And I'll be damned if he didn't win a few games that way, you know, hitting home runs. And you don't know what it is playing with a guy like Norm Cash, but I guarantee you every team needs a guy like Norm Cash to win.
Here's Robert Fick, another man who's counted on in the future, wearing Norm Cash's number 25. Remember, Al told him he'd hit a home run today.
Oh, and he did! There she goes! And it is on the roof! Robert Fick, a grand slam that hits the roof and comes back. K-Line called it. Oh! How do you like that? Look at these flashbulbs. What a moment. Look out for the lumberyard. Oh, and Storm and Norman have loved that.
Please welcome John Hiller.
A couple of reasons. First of all, everybody says about 67, that's coming close, the riots, bringing the team together and such. But I think also over 17 or 18 on that team came up through the minor league system together. So we've known each other. I came up in 67, scared, young rookie, but I knew the Stanleys, the Northrops, the McLains, the Lowitches, knew them throughout the minor league system. So I think that made a big difference. And coming back, you know, 84 team just sort of walked away with everything. It looked easy almost. We came back so many times, and we were nip and tuck with Baltimore late in the year, won a big series, and then went on from there. But coming back, I think 17 times, H. Brown won ball games for us in the later innings. And, a special group, but everybody would say that too.
It's amazing how things have changed. I think the leading person on that team with a save was 5 or 7. I mean, it just didn't happen back then. Things are so different now.
Well, it is. You know, they run the teams totally different. But you know, they had Denny McLain. If Mayo came out and said, "I'm bringing in Hiller," he'd say, "No, you're not. Get back to the bench." So I think, you know, we had 3, 4 great starters when they had their stuff: Wilson, Sparma, Lolich, and McLain. And we had spot starters: Pat Dodson, myself, and the bullpen started a little bit, and relief, and Daryl Patterson. So no, there just was not the era of the saves. But we all contributed in our own way.
You're down 3-1 to the Cardinals, of course, in '68. You guys staged that comeback. Was there ever a doubt creeping into the minds of the players that we can or we cannot do this?
Well, you know, of course, we're always optimistic in that situation, but we were a team that came back. I've said often, I was a youngster making the minimum. We needed that money. You know, we played for the money. Back then, we played for the love of the game, but that extra paycheck equaled my salary for the year, $8,300. So, I mean, that was a motivating factor in itself. But I think we felt that we could win the ball game. We had to go up against Gibson, and then when they beat him that second time, that was a tell story that I think things are going to work out for us. So I was on an interview this morning early, and at our age now, we start, sure, we're glad to get back with the teammates and back to the city, but we start thinking about the people we miss. We've lost probably a good dozen fellas from the 68 team, and start thinking more about the Pat Dodson, you know, the Northrops, and we have Bill Freehand not doing well. So that's in our mind just as much as trying to celebrate this year.
Especially the pitching staff could get through all those games, how you could keep your arms in a condition to be able to pitch that much. What did you guys have to do to keep in condition?
I don't think we did anything out of the normal other than pitch. And I still under a belief. I was in the minor league system for a few years as a pitching coach. I had a very difficult time trying to teach what I didn't believe in. And you got Mickey Lolich, Denny McLain, the 2 starters right here. Their arm was trained to go out there and throw 130, 140 pitches. Their mind was set at 9 innings. I don't think it's any different. Now their mindset, 6, 7 innings, 100 pitches. My wife and I sit at home and we have a little pool to see how many minutes into the game that one of them's going to start talking about pitch count. Like, oh, here we go. 2 seconds into the game, pitch count already. I really believe that the arm will condition to the way you wanted to condition it. These fellas, if they did anything different, they did it behind our backs because we didn't see it, so no difference.
I mean, I don't know how many people realize this, but John Hiller on our ball club that year won 9 ball games in relief. I mean, a relief pitcher winning 9 ball games. And here's the kicker. He used to pitch 2 and 3 innings when he came in for a relief appearance. So it wasn't like he come in for a third of an inning and got a save and went to the bench.
For our team, he was perfect. He put the same lineup in every day. The starters knew who they were. The bullpen knew who they were. And that's all there was. He was perfect for our team.
And you know what, Al?
Bonus that you guys got individually for winning the World Series.
$10,936.26. They make that now for $10,936. How much you guys get?
They got $8,000.
Oh, bullshit. That's what you cleared after it. Yeah, take taxes out. He's from Canada. He's got to count like 1, 2, 3, 4. And no, we didn't take steroids either.
Yes, sir.
Detroit's gold-winning center fielder Randy Stanley was being moved to shortstop to provide additional offensive power to the lineup.
Randy Stanley was the best athlete we had on the team. He could run, he could throw, he could do it all. And he played a little bit of shortstop in the last couple of weeks of the season. And then when we wrote the very first ball of the World Series, he brought it to him, he made the play, threw him out, and everybody sort of like,
part of the Black community, had outstanding years, and I think that helps tie the community together. And we had a great bunch of players, not only on the field, off the field, but the chemistry, I think, is what made it for us. Just like the team today.
I would also contend that we had a lot of guys who were willing to do whatever it took to win, be teammates, good teammates, like the switch you were forced to make from center field to shortstop.
Yeah, well, either I played shortstop or I didn't play at all because they wanted Kayla in the lineup, which I don't blame them. But yeah, everybody's willing to do everything, and that's the thing. Like Tom Magic, Dick Krzyzewski, everybody pitched in. Everybody had good years. Everybody had good years, whereas 67, some of us, including me, didn't have good years, and we just barely didn't make it. I compare this team a lot to this team this year, not talent-wise, but just the chemistry. I think that's the most important. You can just tell these guys. Leland's got them loving each other. I mean, it's fun to watch these guys. They really care about each other.
Ever a doubt when you're down 3-1, even though you got to face a guy like Bob Gibson?
Yes, it was a lot of doubt in my mind. Yeah. A lot of the other players were more optimistic than I was. I think partly because I was playing shortstop, felt a lot of pressure, and I really didn't enjoy the series as much as I should have. I loved playing center field. I was comfortable playing center field. Playing out of position is just a little nerve-wracking, so I didn't want it over with. I wasn't overly optimistic. After we won that ball game, and then the next game, and even though we knew we were facing Gibson, we knew he was hittable. I just felt pressure. When I told Neil Smith that I would do it, that meant I thought I could do it. So, you didn't make an error. Well, no, made 2 errors. One of them was a ground ball. I backhanded, rolled over. I couldn't throw the guy out, but I couldn't find the ball. The guy went second, so that's an error. Another was similar, but I felt like I caught everything I was supposed to catch.
Was it as proud as anything you've done?
Absolutely. Yeah, I feel real proud about having this ring on my finger. People all over the country respect the fact that you were world champion. champion. You can't take it away. It's pretty cool.
Anyone telling any lies this weekend?
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of lying going on. A lot of lying going on. Yeah, this guy weighs 210. You know it weighs 230. I told him I weigh 230. I weigh 240. So.
We're thinking the same thing.
I'm very nervous. We're in St. Louis. We're ready to take the field. Norm Cash looks at me. He says, I bet they could pull a pin out of your ass with a tractor right now, could they? Anyway, I was very nervous. I did not enjoy the World Series like I should have if I was playing center field. There was a lot of pressure. I was very fortunate. The first ball of the series, Lou Brock hit a ground ball to me. Denny says, get ready, it's coming your way, which he was right, it was. Anyway, I got a nice clean hop, made a good throw to Norm Cash, and that broke the ice. I hate to think what would happen if it was the 6th or 7th, bases loaded, in the same situation. So it was not real enjoyable. I was glad when Ray Euler came in the 8th and 9th inning to spell me. Thanks for the question.
Hey, do you people realize that there are very few athletes that ever played the game of baseball that could have done what he did? This is a great athlete here. We knew it. We knew it. We knew he would do a great job, too. Hey, I just got a scoop, ladies and gentlemen. This is a scoop. Mickey Stanley's number 24 will be retired someday.
Woo! All right. As soon as Miguel Cabrera quits wearing it.
Go ahead. And of course, the guy who only won 3 games in the 1968 World Series, Mickey Lowich.
Oh, definitely. I mean, we should have won it in '67. You know what I mean? And it really bothered us. And when we went to spring training, we were ready to go. And we thought we had a real good team. The best part, a lot of the other teams we played in spring training, their players were coming up to us and saying, "You guys got it made this year. You got a great team." So that was nice.
Reiterate the story for me. When you used to go downtown and you'd see people at bus stops, and how people, instead of being upset, and then after the championship, how people were hugging and really uniting together as a team. You told us that story not too long ago.
Well, I actually got the story from one of the police officers who worked Tiger Stadium, and he said in 1967 you would find 4 or 5 people standing on a street corner, and they were looking for trouble. They could tell. They said the same guys be standing on the street corner in 1968. They had a transistor radio and they were listening to the So we must have made a difference. I played with the Freehanders in Denver for 2 weeks. Then I was off the team. But a lot of us used to, just being in spring training and being on a major league roster. I was on the roster for 2 years before I made the big league team. So you're with them in spring training, playing in the minor leagues. You got to know the guy and who his girlfriend was. Sometimes the girlfriend ended up being his wife. But you knew her, and there was a couple guys on every team that, Don Work was married when I met him, and playing ball in Durham. Who else? We grew up together in the minor leagues, so when we came to the big leagues, we all knew each other. And it's like, hey, how you doing? You're a good friend. It was like a new guy coming to the club. And we had a bonding together of known each other for many years. And then without free agency, you stayed together. Yeah, we stayed together. And played together for a long time because by 1965, every guy that played on the 68 team was basically there in 65. So we had 65, 66, Heartbreak was 67. Now, we didn't play the minors with K-Line. But, I mean, Norm Cash was already here. But he was easy to get to know. He was such a wonderful person, you know. And I played the minors with Ray Euler. I mean, the whole Dick McLain. I mean, we all knew each other. The primary story is that when Mayo Smith came out in the outfield and told me I was going to the bullpen, it pissed me off royally. That's all I can say. Because I was having a few problems, but I'd been a starting pitcher, you know, ever since 1964. You know, so that's what, 5 years I've been a starting pitcher, and all of a sudden he puts me in the bullpen because I'm struggling a little bit. You know, and I remember I told him, I says, if we win this thing, as I'm walking away, very hot. I says, I walked away from him. I says, if we win this thing this year, it's going to be because of me. But I was only talking about the season. I wasn't talking about the World Series. I got my revenge back in the World Series.
Were you nervous before Game 7?
No. I was not nervous.
How could you not be nervous?
I'm not that type of person.
Okay.
It's not that type. You know, I'm very easygoing. The guys always used to say that I had ice water running through my veins. Anytime you had to pitch a big game, we'd want Mickey there. You know, they had the confidence in me. I love pitching big games. These are fun. You know, big matchup. Let's go. You know, no, I wasn't nervous. You know, a lot of people say, "Gee, you pitched on 2 days rest." I said, yeah, no big deal. Well, weren't you nervous, you know? I said, no. Well, now, why weren't you nervous? Or you had to have butterflies? I says, I didn't. Now, my wife was up all night. She says, I slept like a baby. You know? Fact is, at that time, I was doing a morning show with Dick Burton. That's right. He used to call me at like 7 o'clock Detroit time to talk to me. This all had been prearranged prior to the World Series. Burton says, he was sitting in the studio that morning, and his director was there, and he says, I don't think I should call Mickey this morning, you know, because time difference in St. Louis, you know. You're going to have to wake me up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'm pitching in the 7th game of the World Series. And the director said, yeah, you've talked to him so many times, you know, nothing bothers Mickey. Give him a call. The phone rang. I said, hey, Dick, how you doing? He says, oh, God, thank you.
I pitched that 5th game when he sang the national anthem. Warming up in the bullpen down at Tiger Stadium, which was down the left field line, you were actually standing in the shadows of the stadium for a 1 o'clock ball game in the afternoon. And being it was October, there was a slight chill in the air, and I started to warm up, and I was just starting to get loose when the national anthem took place. Jose sang his version of the national anthem, which by today's standards would be fantastic. Even thrown a curveball yet. And as you know, I scared the hell out of all you people by letting them get a 3-0 lead in the first inning. And then I settled down and everything worked out fine.
A home run, because his only home run was in the series.
They just hit his bat.
My favorite thing to do is sort of dig back at it. And I saw the post and I had that, and Nelson Morales was straight control hit by the bat dead center. And I knew I was out. Because I was out all the time. I was not ready to hit it. I never stepped on first base. Because I could sprain an ankle, I could turn the knee, just if I hit the bag, I always stepped over the bag. And so when the ball went to the left, I didn't even watch it. I just started to run. And when I got to first base, I stepped over the bag. And that's when Mully Moses, my first base coach, says, it's out of here. And I stopped, and I mean, I said, what do you say? And he says, you just hit a home run. And I said something that I can't repeat. And I had to go back and touch first base. There was a shot.
Controversy in the series with the play at the plate where Brock, safe out, obviously called out. When you look at that play again, is the right call made? And when you see Brock at Hall of Fame events, Al, we see him around old-timers, he swears it was the wrong call. What do you guys think?
Well, he swears he was safe, and we knew he was out. And if he would have slid, he probably would have been called safe. But he didn't, and he paid the consequences.
And I was standing 15 feet away. He was out. Brock ran us ragged in that World Series. I mean, he stole bases off me. I don't know, maybe he probably had 3 or 4 off me in the World Series total. It was nothing to nothing. You know, they were getting off a little bit farther than they normally would. And it's like they were getting ready to go on that pitch. And when I saw the gap, I mean, it's like, holy shit, he's got an awful big lead over there. You know, I guess I better throw over to first base. And as and as I made my move to go to first base, or just make my move, as my leg came up, they took off. Well, you know, I just threw behind him and cashed through to second. Got a little rundown going.
2 out, nobody on, no score, 7th inning, Tigers at bat. 7th game of the World Series. Now the windup and the pitch. Swing, there's a looping drive to right. It'll drop in for a single by Cash. Here's Willie Horton. Ground ball, left side, through, base hit by Horton. Cash checks in and holds it second. Now the set by Gibson, we're ready. There's a swing and a fly ball to center. Here comes Flood, digging hard. He almost fell down. Hits over his head for a hit. Cash is rounding third. He scores. Willie Horton rounding third. He scores. Northrop goes into third base. Detroit leads 2-0. Well, there's the one that breaks it open, Pee-wee. Yeah, it looked like Kurt Flood. He charged in on that ball. Then he saw that the ball was hit harder than he thought it was. He tried to break back. He slipped on it and then could not catch up to the ball.
Lolich fires. Ball is hit high in the air. This should be the series. Freehand waving everybody away in foul territory. Detroit wins.
I can't believe it. I knew we were going to win. Filled with money, crying money, but I don't have to use it anymore. They really sacked it to him, and they knew what they were doing when they pitched Lolich against Gibson.
Ovation for Al Kaline, the Tigers' designated hitter, going for that 3,000th hit. And to describe the action for us, here's Paul Carey.
Thank you, Ernie. Al bounced out to Belanger at short, his first time up. The pitch is swung on. There's a drive down to right field into the corner. He'll be in for a big hit. Maybe extra bases. Al is digging for second. He's in with a stand-up double. A 2-base hit for Al Kaline. Hit number 3,000 in his fabulous career of 22 years.
Manager Freddie Hutchinson forgot my name, and he said, "Hey kid, come here, grab a bat and go hit." And I didn't have a bat. I didn't know which one to use, so I just picked the first one I could find, and had to pick the heaviest one on the bench. It felt like, and I was facing a big guy who was having a good year for the Athletics, Harry Bird, who won 19 games that year, and he was about 6'5". And I swung at the very first pitch and hit a ball to center field, and I was never so happy to make an out or get back to the bench because I was scared to death.
Tall, skinny kid with a crew cut come up to me and asked me if he could have my number. You know, players have nothing to do with their numbers, so I went to Hutch, who was the manager of the club, and told him the kid wants my number. He okayed it, and the rest was history. Al, you served the uniform well.
But it was one of those things that happened, one of those great years that some players go through that seemed like everything I did was right. At that time, I could run real well, and I beat out a lot of infield hits. And, of course, then I was able to get the lucky hits to go with it. But it was a great year, and one that put an awful lot of pressure on me throughout my career in Detroit, because winning the batting title, become the youngest person ever to win a batting title, put a lot of pressure on me.
To carry the mantle of superstar in baseball, a gentleman recognizes his responsibilities toward the millions of young Americans that literally worship the ground on which he walks. Al Kaline never for a moment has failed to recognize this relationship with the nation's young.
A long belt by Kaline. This one is gone. Out of here.
When I was a youngster, life was a baseball game. There was nothing more exciting than a good old game of ball. I played a lot of ball games growing up in Baltimore. every day from spring to fall. I never would have had that chance to prepare for a career every boy dreams of without the love and hard work of two people, my mom and dad.
I've been told this by a lot of people that the way I conduct myself off the field is inspiration to a lot of people. That's the way I was raised. That's the way my parents wanted me to be, and that's the way I tried to please my parents at a very early age, and that's the way I conducted myself on and off the field.